Hello from Bali. This is the podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about management concepts and let's start with the definition.
When you're the boss, you should be responsible for everything, for your staff, for your strategy, for execution. And you could be as a usual ordinary person and think about everything, or you should use so-called management concepts. With help of those way of thinking, you will make it faster and also other people will understand you. For example, you and me, we know something about bicycle, something about swimming and something about marathon. In this case, we could talk each with other and everyone would understand the major things and we will just discuss the small details. The same in the business. If you know, for example, how to analyze the market, how to compete with peers, how to summon best people in your team, then you will be maybe successful. And the more people work in the same industry, the more they need management concepts from other industries. It's our job, troubleshooters, to find the best concepts and to show to everyone. For example, we work with oil pumping industry or hospitality, or for example, with some diamond cutting companies. And sometimes we found like concepts, we find special tools or maybe diagrams or ways how to show something. It was several weeks ago. I have been working with a huge car dealer and I asked them how they check how old the car on the stock. And suddenly they say, oh, we have several divisions. We have like green, yellow, red, and black stocks. So our cars is divided for 4 portions. And I asked them, do you know how, for example, wine makers made this? They use like vintage analysis. And in this case, you have roll up, you have roll back, you have stabilization, roll forward, and all other kind of movement. And you could understand, are your cars getting older, or maybe you're working with your stock well? And suddenly they were not aware of this. And I was saying, what a sad story. They do not know anything about management concepts. For example, if you will run marathon for the very first time, you will make a lot of errors or mistakes. You will choose wrong shoes, you will choose wrong trousers and something else. But if you will work with your trainer will explain you some small detail. And you know, there is even a proverb phrase, retail is detail.
And when we actually try to oversee like what exactly is included in this area, I probably could relate to one of the skills that we were also passing by. It's a strategy. So when we were looking into the Chinese strategies, we were trying to come up with probably the map, like how exactly they could be strategized. Like for example, when you're fighting by it's a winning game, when you're fighting against someone else, etc., etc. So whether the same concept, and I mean like dimensions, could also be applied to the management concepts. Like for example, like you could split them into certain groups or segments, or maybe by type, so that you can understand like what is the field that you're trying to like play with, and then you can look into the different sectors to find the right answers.
There is several layers of things that you should think if you are the boss, if you are the leader. First is management concepts, and second is business models. And quite often we see that people, they could create or even improve business model. But if they will add to the business model management concepts, they will have like several dimension space. For example, there are a lot of concepts like SMART. Smart, it means that you should be specific and measurable and so on. But will it work without applying to the business? For sure not. Or for example, it would be like, I don't know how to say, Eisenhower matrix. Is it okay to say?
Yes, that's correct one.
Whereas your business could be urgent or maybe unurgent, maybe important or not. And there is a saying that nothing urgent could be important. If you will understand a lot of those concepts, you will think in a very slow way. You will be very patient. You will be very accurate because you will carry not just your thoughts, as a usual person, but you also will carry the wisdom of people who was working before you. And there is a saying in Russian language: "Do not invent the bicycle." But a lot of people which do not know management principles or concepts, they sometimes could invent something is very familiar to the bicycle. By the way, in the German language, bicycle on one kind of slang would be pronounced like a wire donkey. I don't know, is it understandable? Wire donkey is like проволочный осел.
That would be the more or less accurate.
Okay, thank you. And also in Russian language, several centuries ago, bicycle was called like a bone shaker, kastatrias.
That's also could be the good one.
And for sure, if you or me or we are all together will try to construct bicycle, maybe our first 20 or even 100 attempts would be quite ugly. So it's much better to learn from someone how to make quite modern bicycle.
So let's say you actually do understand all of the concepts and you do want to communicate with your peers. Obviously, let's say if you are the boss, you will find the ways. But maybe if you the one who is working for boss and you do understand that they might not be having the idea of those concepts, whether it will makes to to demonstrate the full knowledge, or maybe like it could be something that you could share when you've been asked, or you just could share a little details. So the question is like more, do you need to teach someone to provide the proper interface so that you could communicate, or you just give it in a small bites?
You know, even tomorrow I will solve the same problem. I will meet at the suburb of the Moscow with billionaire who own the company, and this company is going to have technical default in the nearest 3 weeks. And there is a three family which own this business, and I have already meeting with one family, and they approved my approach. But I have another two meetings, and if all families will accept, we will start to save the company. But I will just pronounce several concepts combined in one scheme, how we could make this. And I'm not sure that I will be able to explain. You know, sometimes people who has a huge business and it already going for 3 or 4 decades, they will think, oh, we are lucky. We will be saved by the government or by the banks or by some other investors. We are too big to fail. Or too big to fall. So what could do such a person as Maxim Golubь or Oleg Bragинский? We are finally just a man, but not the wisest or maybe not the richest. So when you will meet a businessman and you have a brilliant thought, sometimes he will think, okay, if Maxim Golubь is have so sharp mind, why he is not as rich as me? So you will be dealing like a fox with the mouse, or maybe fox with the lion. You should show that, okay, I sure that you know this management concept, and I will not describe it, but I will slightly show you how it could be used. And maybe if you have goodwill, you will be agree with me, and you will give me a chance to pass you through these cliffs.
And when we actually look into this, like the entire science, whether we want to, share it with someone or not, whether we want to use it with a finesse or maybe just, go straight forward, are there any contradictory parts? Because like in any theory, there is like exceptions or something that kind of not really, fitting well or not like a feeling well when you're trying to use it. So again, like whether there are some parts that we should avoid or should be aware of and maybe acknowledge that, yes, this is the way it is, or maybe we should actually try to use their disadvantage to our advantages.
With another author of video series, we trying to record Maxim with another family. We write the first book, четвертый, fourth book, cracking the Bragинski code. And in this book, there would be a map, and we will show that there is a curse of the edge or the angle of the map. So if you are going to approach sharp edge of the theory of the concept, you could follow to eternity. For example, there is a term which in Russian would be like критерии falsifiцируемости, and in English it would be maybe criteria of falsification. Falsification criteria. And in each science, in each theory, in each concept, it should be applied and it will show black holes. If the theory of the science has no black holes, you just do not reach them. But if the theory has it, it could be theory which could be applied for some small territory or for some small space. For example, maybe some war tricks could be used for first time, but could you use them for second time? Maybe not. For example, you playing chess and you make some smart movement. Could you use the same player it again? Never. The same would be with management concept. Maybe you were lucky for several years, but you have already spent all of your tricks and you should learn them as new.
And it's actually quite nice that we were speaking about the combinations or ways of applying the management concept, whether there is like a way or maybe whether there are like a nice complementary skills that actually could help you to leverage it and maybe to deliver the better results. Like, for example, like we could introduce the business models, but maybe there is like something else, or maybe it's like a different shape and forms of certain skills or piece of knowledge that could goes nicely with them and would provide to open something that is completely new, completely fresh for our stakeholders or even clients.
Let's talk, we will, for example, throw away boomerang. And there are a lot of different ways. Usually people think that exists just one type of curve, wooden made, which would be thrown away and it will return back. But it's not true. I have been to Australia and I have been listening and watching how those are used. There are also could be boomerangs with, I know how to say, it's like pacifist star with three beams. It's okay to say? Three
Harmless. Beams. Three beams is good.
3 beams. Some of them are quite heavy and they will be thrown away. They will kill, for example, kangaroo and will fall out. So it will not return. So we know just about one kind of boomerang. The same, okay, everyone knows about Eisenhower matrix and, for example, SMART principle and so on. But to be honest, there are like 50 business models and 200 management concepts. So it's quite a huge space, huge rectangle, and there are a lot of multiplications. And sometimes it's enough slightly move something. There is a story. It was Soviet Union time, and it was invention, I know how to say, ship on the underwater wing. It's okay to say?
Could be good one.
Okay, and they were trying to transfer people and boxes on some major rivers, but suddenly Americans, they were discovering the right angle and they make I don't know how to say, but patent. It's okay to say patent. Patent, and they forbid to Soviet manufacturer to use the right angle. The same, for example, with vacuum cleaner Dyson. The person was working with engines, and when his vacuum cleaner corrupted, he discovered the best angle how to make vacuum cleaner as powerful as it could be. And then he patented it, and now some companies like Samsung or other, which are producers of home appliance, they are not allowed to use the optimal angle for the engines. So sometimes you will be distracted by some people who already were making the right moves. There are some games, and we learn the skill on the games theory. For example, like crosses and zeros. It's okay to say?
Yes.
Crosses and zero or go. And if you making your first move, sometimes you will think, okay, I have advantage. But this is a game. So if you play them very often, you will find the strategy how to be winner if you are not the first going.
And then my last question will be how knowing about management concepts could help to make this world a better place.
I will explain just one story. I have a friend of mine, and he has a very expensive car, and his driver put this car in small car accident, and cost of repairing of this car was 500,000 Russian rubles. It's quite a big sum. Right now we have January of 25. And I asked my friend, would you keep this driver or you will fire him? And suddenly he answered, if I will fire him, someone will get a very accurate driver. He has already been in car accident and he has a very valuable experience. But if I will keep him by myself, I will have this experience in my family.
Well, we review the skill of management concept and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.